and welcome to Spider-Man Gunport's channel. This time, we're going to work on another wonderful Tengen game. This is the box. It's been trimmed down so that you can use it as the actual cart protective sleeve. I thought that was a really great idea. I mean, it's a way to save these boxes and not have to worry about, you know, getting these things filthy. So, here's Klax. Cart is in wonderful condition. We're going to definitely open it up and clean those contact pads. Take a look at what the board looks like on the inside of this particular cartridge, but let's take a look at its instruction booklet. This is a really wide booklet too. I was not expecting it to be this wide. And for it to be color? It is color all throughout it. That's wonderful. Okay, here we go. Hit the pause button so that you can read through these. The credits, table content, you know, title screen. Trying to get it so that you don't have like glare. It's semi-gloss paper too, as you can see. Not very often would I pull out a manual and actually, or a booklet like this and show it, because many of them that I own are just decaying. They're not in great condition. The staple areas have wore out, and they have lettering and written stuff all inside of them, like little crib notes, things like that. This one is in wonderful condition. It's a puzzle game. Awesome. So yeah, when I was a kid, when I was playing Klax, I'd usually start at level 1 and just work my way up. And yeah, it just something about this game. I enjoy listening to the music. Yeah, I know I'm gonna have to cut into it again, and I really don't like doing that. But actually, you know, I'm going to try it from a different angle this time and see if I can get it so that I don't have to worry about ruining any of the text. I think it's going to happen no matter what anyway. Not much is going to save that. I'm half tempted to not even put this screw back in again once I pull it out, but if I just leave it like that so that when I place it back down again. What do you think? Sound like a good idea? In there. Yeah, I'm very happy about picking the color combinations too for this particular cart. I was having a real fun time with this, trying to figure out which colors should I use. And how often do you actually get to use magenta? Yeah, it's magenta, right? Or is it pink? But yeah, I get to use that color here. Of course, the black goes with the black, and then the blue with the tile blue on the sets. You know, like the little blue set right there. Yeah. So, and let's go ahead and match that up. See if that actually goes with it. Oh, it's very close. But yeah, this game, and when I was a kid, I was never very good at it, and that's probably the reason why I liked it so much. Out of all the puzzle games to play, is that, and if you didn't have that book, I mean, did you seen that book? Did you see those special Klaxes at the end there? I never knew about this. I didn't know about that. If you had the book, you'd be able to figure that out, right? I mean, the game tells you to make these as you're going along with each level, right? But, I mean, giving you those points? Look at that one. It's much easier said than done on making some of these happen. Let's just put it that way. Okay, let's admire the board a little bit. See how it holds up out of all these years. It's made in USA. Hoorah! Contact pads definitely need to be scrubbed. You can see that they need to be, brightened. Another one without any solder mask over it. I'm thinking they might all be like that so that they could put these, I want to call them caps. Resistors, or they might even be diodes. I don't know. If you know what these are right here, these parts and these components, please tell me down below. I may do some research and find out myself, but yeah, okay, yeah, it's a resistor right here. That's a cap there. It says on the board. Let me set it down so you can get those. Do you get them? I think you do. Wow. Yeah, character, program RAM. And I'd be curious what this would be. Is that voice synth? Might be. Cool. Let's get to busy cleaning this thing. If you've ever had a chance to play Klax, I'm sure it's on other game platforms. I'm speculating, but I believe it's on the Genesis. Not sure. But this one is by far one of my more favorite puzzle style games. Because the music, the background music, that BMG is just awesome. And you can turn it off and play your own music too if you wanted to. It doesn't look like any cart to board wear line on this one either. Just excellent. Means that this has been well taken care of over the years. It wasn't just slammed into the freaking console and then just almost broke off trying to get it back out again. So, yeah, I've been meaning to get around to cleaning up this game and making a code video too to the emulation. I'm still going to do that. I figured out, I believe the timers, the Klaxes themselves, level select, a few other things that I made through emulation that'll make the game, I don't know, the way you want to make it. You can make it more difficult or you can make it more easy. It's up to you. Codes don't have to necessarily mean that you're cheating to make it easier game. Just that's my personal perspective on it. You can make the game as difficult as you want to, because I've noticed that Rev-B cartridges when they come over here from Japan is that the ones that we get are way more difficult than the original. And when we get the original, the non-Rev-A carts, they seem to be a little easier, and I prefer them the original way instead of having to be, increased in difficulty, all that kind of stuff. So, just my personal, it's what I like. Hope you all enjoyed watching the challenge coin video as much as I enjoyed making it. I didn't cover a lot of things that I really wanted to, and I was just trying to make it so that it was comprehensive, very easy, simplistic, nothing too involved, no information given out about certain organizations that should not be given out. Like keep, loose lips, sinks ships, keep your mouth shut about things. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I am doing. Is like I would much rather just do a little bit here, a little bit there. I mean, not to stress or scare anybody into either not enlisting because of something that I said. I would feel really, really bad that somebody would change their mind, not making that choice for themselves. Wow, that really cleaned up nice. But that is grody. This thing was caked. So I am super happy taking this apart and cleaning it. Yeah, it seems like every time I'd play, I would play, like, say, Tetris or another puzzle type game like Pyramid. Yeah, I would want to play a game of Klax after, and I would always be after. It would never be before, because I would want to warm up on another puzzle game, and then I would want to play this one because it's just the stylization of this one's the movement of each of them clicking down at you, and they're coming from the background to the foreground, and they're coming towards you. I mean, it's not very many Nintendo games do that. That dimension of for graphics and all that, and they get larger as they come closer to you. And there's so many. I mean, when you get up in the higher levels, there's so many of them coming down. It is awesome. I mean, you're going to be watching them drop left and right, and every time that a tile drops, it makes it kind of an interesting sound effect. Like a person screams. It I don't know. You'll see here. I'll put the cartridge into the console, and we'll play a quick game after this. Uh, I'm not sure if the game enhancer will work, much like the other one for Gauntlet. And got some interesting news. I went online and I found Gauntlet and Gauntlet 2 gray cartridge, so that we could see the difference between the gray cartridge's PCB layout and see if its solder mask is on the opposite side where the chipsets are at. I'm speculating. I don't know. I'm just kind of finding out myself, and this is all really neat and new. This is the second cart that we've actually opened up by Tengen, and it doesn't have its solder mask on the other side, or silk screen. Just saying. Unless it does have the silk screen. Cool. But yeah, I'm going to get cleaned up and get to scrubbing on it. Give me a second. So yeah, this is fun. Did you guys tell me if you've ever played a game of Klax back in the day? Tell me what's going on in your guys' lives and what's up. Not much going on here. I'm just going day by day. Yeah, I'm very happy that I found those carts though for Gauntlet 1 and 2. I knew they made it in gray cartridge format, but see, I was looking for the gray cartridge of Gauntlet in box, and it wasn't. It's just not available. And I was like, okay, what does the box look like for it? It's like, is it different than the black cart version of it? And is it Rev A or B? Because the one that I own right now is actually Rev-B. It even says so on the cartridge itself as part of the board. Like it says Rev-B. This is Rev-A right here. So, and I'm like, what gives about Rev? What is it that they fixed with Rev-B? I don't think these are going to shine up too well, but that's alright. You've seen other carts that have this same type of copper, or same type of contact. Yeah, I never physically owned Klax. It was always one of those games that were obscure, not readily available in an area up here, at least not on the shelves to buy. It was a nice rental. Give me a second. Yeah, this was just a little bit more grimy and stuck on there and tough to get scrubbed off than I was expecting. So I did a little bit of work off camera here. As you can see, it's a bit of verdigris still on there. I may go over it again and probably another more, a couple more times just to get all that off of there, because this is really, really stuck on there. So I will see you guys in a little bit. I'm back. Yeah, it took a little bit longer than I was expecting it to, but it's all good. I think this one had maybe a cleaner on it at one point in time, and it was difficult to get it off the board. I'd like to wish you all a happy Halloween. Be safe out there. If you're going to dress up and you're going to go over to your parties and stuff, try to be as responsible as possible. Don't scare too many kids. I don't know what I'm going to do this year. I was thinking pull up my Wolfman costume and maybe walk around with that on. I was invited to go to a party tomorrow night, a costume party. I'm debating whether or not I want to go. Yeah, this worked way better. Yeah, I had to go back over it again with the electric eraser and the and a new one of these. Just to make sure that I get all this off of here, because it was really stuck on here. In the comments section down below, why don't you tell me what you guys are going to dress up as? Love to hear from you. Alright, let's see what this looks like now. Better than it was, right? It's like, come on, camera, focus. Yeah, that looks way better than it did before. Alright, I am going to clean the other side now. Give me a second. My apologies, this is probably going to be a little bit longer than a normal, traditional Nintendo cleaning cart. And for my teardown videos. I really want to get that tarnish off of here. Or AKA, also known as verdigris. Yeah, see how it's caught up underneath that contact? I might want to be careful around that one. Dry it all off. Remember, I've been very gentle with this particular process. I don't want to ruin this cart. And if I have to go over it multiple times, I will. Again, I'll stay away from that little bird area right here on this one. Oh, I got some good news. I also went online and I picked up another one of these particular microphones that I'm using. This a lavalier lapel microphone. And I have it now set up for my PC so that when I am creating videos, I have no excuse not to at least make some commentary during my videos now. So I'm very happy with that. And it's the next one up from the one I'm using right now. It actually has a rechargeable battery in it instead of just the little button cell batteries. So, yep. Eventually here I'll have both Ravenloft videos for Hex Editor going through the characters' profiles. All up and ready to go. I was practicing the other night working on it, making sure that I got those values down right, and because I don't want to give you guys false information of what values to change to make your characters the way you want to. I think that'd be a little rude. So, rude isn't like a waste of time, more so than it would be for me to, show you something and then not actually have it function the way it's supposed to. I'm trying to get it down right, but it seems like certain values, when you put them in, it's pretty much like the Plants vs. Zombies. When you level select, it needs to be in increments. It needs to go up one level at a time for it to actually adjust it in-game through a save, which I find is kind of annoying, but it is what it is, and it works. At least through my hex editor. If you have a better hex editor, by all means, tell me down below which one you're using, and if you like it, and if it works very well and it works in real time, I would love to have a real-time working hex editor. But I mean, for right now, for what I'm doing with it, old DOS games, I could always use the that DOS Shark, right? Yeah, DOS Shark 0.5. But again, that's another one where you can only have one code active at one time instead of having multiple codes running all in the background. So at least it works, right? I mean, Master of Magic with those codes going, it doesn't take half as long as it normally would to just defeat another wizard in that game. And at least in that game, you can actually put it on the impossible level. Yeah, here it is. This is the spot that I was referring to. It's a little burr on the pad. I stayed away from it. Okay, I'm going to get cleaned up real quick, and we'll be back in a second. Alright, I'm back. Yeah, the whole reason why I even use DOSBox, it's not because I have to. I have other PCs to run those games. I just like it so that I can actually run those old DOS games with a nice filter over them so that they look a little better, for one. I can get full 1080p out of the DOSBox. I have a nice overlay, and I can use Roland sound canvas that normally through a stock card on my other PCs, I don't have any of that equipment for it. I would love to get a Roland sound canvas. That would be one of my most favorite devices because for audio equipment, for me and the stuff that I like making for music, going through that and setting it up properly, oh, the the types of music that I would be able to create with that particular unit would be great. But for right now, I'm just going to use the PlayStation 2 and the music DJ through that. I used to use that phone, my old decrepitude Sony Ericsson phone, and that's starting to notice its wear and tear. It's not holding a charge the way it's supposed to. You know, like the wires and stuff are all becoming jellied. I don't know if you've ever seen what happens when a older wire or older equipment has certain things on it. It basically turns their rubber or their the little pieces on them and stuff, and they turn into like an oil or grease. It's they just decompose over time. It's really odd and strange. And some of my old phones, I've already had it happen to them, and I've just wiped them up and cleaned them up. But it's like then their cables are not your standard USB cable. They're not, they're proprietary. So when you have that cord completely disintegrate on you, I've actually had the cord actually separate. It's split down the middle of the actual outer casing on it, exposing the wires on the inside, and I'm like, oh, isn't that nice? It became brittle. It became rigid, hardened, like a vinyl. It's just, yeah. And as you're collecting some of these more older things, say 20, 30 years old of equipment, stuff from the 80s or early 90s, you'll notice that some of these things are just, yeah, even if they're brand new, they'll turn into like a putty of goop in your hand. And trying to get that stuff off your hand, you'd almost need gasoline or paint thinner just to get the stuff off your hand. It's that sticky. And imagine having that all over your electronics too. Uh, they're port covers too, so you're getting that in your port, like headphone jack or at the back of the time it was a different type of jack for it, but it's like, yeah, it's like what is going on with these older things? Never seen that happen before until I've watched other channels on YouTube and they've discussed it, but I never myself personally have never experienced it until just recently. I'm like, what? How did that do that overnight? I didn't even realize it was going to do that within a week. Because I just checked it and there was nothing wrong with it, and then I check it again and they're just gone. And I was like, how did it do that? Yeah, it's one of those things. So as a vintage game collector, you're on some of those CD-ROMs and discs and stuff, like for the Sega CD, you have to worry about disc rot, and I haven't heard anything like that in a long time. Nobody's telling anybody about disc rot anymore. I'm like, well, when you're collecting some of those games, there's going to be like missing data and pitting on the top half of the cover of the actual disc, and it just separates. And it's like, what happened to my CD? That's why we make backup copies. That's why we put them on our PCs, so that when you burn it again, which would be nice if we could do that with some really nice software, that would be the whole purpose of it. To make sure that you have an archive copy of it. Otherwise, you're not gonna, your game's just gonna go right straight to the garbage. Oh yeah, it's gonna have to be done again and probably again. So, alright, see you guys in a little bit. Okay, I'm back. I can't stress this enough. Make sure you guys wear your safety glasses. Seriously, when you're going to be doing any of this stuff, and I don't know. I'm not saying I've proven this method to be very effective, but I've proven this method to be very effective. I have worked on so many of these cartridges, and I've used the eraser method on them, and they are working wonderful. Tearing them up, taking them apart, doing a tear down on each one, describing it, looking at the boards, making sure there's no cart to wear line. I think it's just a very, very smart concept and idea to do for every single one of these Nintendo games that you receive, unless they're, in box. Then you don't have to worry about it too much, but still, some of these carts when they're made, they they move around inside the cart a little bit. Every time you push it into the cart, into the actual console, the outer shell is going to rub up against the PCB. As you can see, there's a little bit of a line. There's a straight line shot right straight across, right where that meets. It's like, come on. And I'm just gonna tell you, man, is that this and this is going to be cheaper than buying that scrubbing kit. Because how many of them are you going to go through when you have 20, 30 games? You're starting to get yourself a really, really nice collection going there, and you have to keep getting those little cleaning card things constantly picking them up, and that's not going to fix the issue that you might be actually having when it comes to like a broken trace or something. I don't know. I'm just saying. It'd be cheaper to pick up one of these bits and to clean it with something that you have laying around the house, especially if you're in school or if you've, used a regular pencil. Come on, how many people don't have these around? It's a commonplace household item. It just makes sense. And then at least you could take a look at what it is that you're playing. How they laid it out, how long it took them. Because it took an engineer quite a long time to come up with just this board design back in the day. They didn't have the tools that they do now. You know what I mean? Like these via holes. Like the layout of that, it has to be just within certain tolerances. And that was back then. Nowadays, there's software that would tell you right away. It's like they're not going to be able to build that board now because of that via hole is too large. You're not going to be able to use that. Or that trace line is too close to that other trace line. Or, by the manufacturer will say that it's not within our tolerances of making it on board, or you're not putting in a large enough order for them, because a lot of times they just put it all on one die, multiple orders, and that, I guess that's how it works out for them. But I just love the fact that they're still making these games, and it's like, yes, please. But has anybody ever taken apart the newer ones and cleaned them, or just at least looked at them and looked at the actual, engineering behind it? Some of these boards are just absolutely elegant. Like somebody really knew what they were doing. Like, not just winging it. Oh man. I took a course in college, Pro E, or Pro Engineer Wildfire 2.0. That's how far back I was at. And I absolutely loved that program. Everybody else is like, we should be using solids modeling or another variant of drafting, a CAD program or something. And I was like, no, I like the Pro E. Pro E was my thing. I created a Pac-Man, a fully, I wanted to call it a, oh, what the heck would it be even called? Spiral, maybe? Well, it was a Pac-Man that was made into a spiral, and it spun all the way around, and it was actually a base and a stand for a lamp. It was really huge, and my professor, he didn't realize the way that I set it up that it was going to be solid and not hollow, and it would have been a lot better if it was a hollow piece. You know, it would be a lot lighter. But when he printed that thing out, it was definitely a lamp. I mean, it was easily put a piece of all thread, and yeah, a piece of all thread right straight through the entire thing, and then have it bored out for the wire to go through it so that you can plug it in as a lamp. And that way you'd have a Pac-Man lamp. It was really cool. It was just really, really cool. And that was back in the day before it was our time. You know, like before things became what they were or are now, like MakerBot and things like that. You didn't have the 3D printers like that. This was a rapid prototype machine. This thing was industrial. You know, and the filament that's meant for it was extraordinarily expensive too. So that was one heck of an expensive Pac-Man. That looks way better than it did before. I got a little bit more right in here. But yeah, you notice that I had to go over it twice just to get the verdigris off of this particular cart's contact pads. And yeah, I've had other carts that were grimy, but this one really yeah, it had one heck of a patina on it. And I'm very happy that we opened it up and we did and cleaned it all up. I just find it fascinating seeing these particular carts, how it's, yeah, this one's not doing the waveform like it was on the other one, the Gauntlet. But yeah, my apologies, this is a longer video. But yeah, I'm going to do a very quick session of the game, so stay tuned. See you all in a little bit. Hey everyone, I'm back. This time, quick game of Klax. Game and answer. Very happy with the contact pads. Took a little longer than expected, but it turned out nice. We're going to go infinite drops. I'd like to say thank you to all my new subscribers. Welcome. It's greatly appreciated. I'd also like to say greetings and thank you to all my wonderful followers on Instagram and TikTok. You all help make this all worthwhile. Just having a wonderful time making these videos and playing these old games and sharing my experience with everyone. It's definitely a blessing. All right, I think that's good. Have yourselves a wonderful day. Take care. Happy gaming.